La 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 la.
I gave you love. I thought that we had made.
They arrived from nowhere, dominated the charts, then disappeared into obscurity. The 1970s created musical shooting stars, artists who crafted perfect songs that defined the decade, yet never repeated their success. Today we expose the buried tales, bitter disputes, and shocking revelations behind 15 brilliant flashes of musical genius that time forgot. Lovin' You showcased Minnie Riperton's extraordinary 5-octave vocal range, particularly her use of the whistle register in the song's famous high notes.
Kinda made me laugh. It took me way back.
Originally intended as a lullaby for her daughter Maya, who grew up to become actress Maya Rudolph, the song was recorded for her 1974 album Perfect Angel. Tragically, Riperton was diagnosed with breast cancer shortly after the song's success and passed away in 1979 at just 31 years old.
Out of loving you.
After becoming a spokesperson for cancer awareness, the seemingly innocent Lovin' You contains a hidden message that many radio listeners never noticed. At the end of the album version, Riperton can be heard singing Maya, Maya, Maya.
Maya, 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 Maya.
Naming her daughter, though this part was usually cut from radio edits. Run, Joey, Run was the creation of David Geddes, a Michigan native who had almost given up on his music career when he recorded this melodramatic teenage tragedy song. The narrative ballad about young lovers and an accidental shooting reached number 4 on the Billboard Hot 100 in 1975, making Geddes an overnight success after years of struggling in the music industry. After his brief moment of fame, Geddes returned to college to complete his law degree, eventually becoming an attorney while occasionally performing on the oldies circuit. He later worked in radio management and as a voiceover artist. What many don't know is that Run, Joey, Run was initially recorded as a demo with no expectation of release.
Here's the last words Julie said.
Producer Paul Vance heard the demo and insisted on releasing it exactly as recorded, despite Geddes' request to re-record parts he felt were flawed. The song's controversial storyline about teenage pregnancy and domestic violence led to it being banned on some conservative radio stations, even as it climbed the charts elsewhere. The iconic Happy Days theme song was performed by duo Pratt and McClain. Initially, the TV show used Bill Haley's Rock Around the Clock as its theme, but in the 3rd season, producers commissioned this original track to better capture the show's nostalgic 1950s atmosphere. Released as a single, it surprised everyone by soaring to number 5 on the Billboard Hot 100 in 1976.
And goodbye, rain. She's wearing my school ring on her chain. She's my steady, I'm her man.
Despite the wholesome image associated with the Happy Days theme, there was significant behind-the-scenes tension during its recording. Session musicians on the track reportedly included members of Toto and the Wrecking Crew, who were allegedly paid minimal fees despite the song's eventual success. If these musical revelations are striking a chord with you, tell us in the comments. Also, please take a moment to hit that like button. Subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into the forgotten corners of music history. Share this video with friends who think they know their 70s hits, and they're about to learn the real stories behind these familiar tunes. Now, let's keep spinning these one-hit wonders. Brazilian singer Morris Albert struck worldwide gold with Feelings, a ballad that reached number 6 on the Billboard Hot 100 in 1975 and sold millions of copies internationally. Albert recorded the song first in Spanish before cutting the English version that became a global hit. The song's earnest, emotional delivery made it a staple of lounge acts and a fixture in 1970s easy listening radio formats. Despite the massive success of Feelings, Albert never had another significant hit in the U.S. He continued performing and recording in his native Brazil and occasionally tours internationally on nostalgia circuits, particularly in Latin America, where he maintained a more consistent career. What many don't know is that Feelings became the center of one of music's most significant plagiarism cases. The amazing Rhythm Aces scored their only major hit with Third Rate Romance, which reached number 14 on the Billboard Hot 100 in 1975. Led by singer-songwriter Russell Smith, this Memphis-based group blended country, rock, and R&B into what would later be called Americana music. The song's narrative structure, describing a chance meeting leading to a seedy motel encounter, showcased Smith's skills as a storyteller. Despite their limited mainstream success, the band developed a cult following and continued to record and tour until 2015. Tragically, several original members have passed away, including Smith, who died in 2019. But their influence on country rock remains significant, with artists like Lucinda Williams citing them as inspirations. The moral ambiguity of Third Rate Romance caused considerable controversy when it was released. Several radio stations refused to play it or edited portions due to its frank portrayal of a casual sexual encounter, unusual for a country-influenced song in the mid-1970s. What's less known is that Smith claimed the song was based on an actual encounter he witnessed in a Memphis restaurant, though he admitted to embellishing the story significantly. British group Ace scored an international hit with How Long, which reached number 3 on the U.S. Billboard Hot 100 in 1975. The soulful rock track was written by lead vocalist Paul Carrick, who would later become known as the man with a golden voice. Many listeners interpreted the song as being about a romantic betrayal, but it was actually written about bassist Terry Comer being secretly recruited by another band. After Ace disbanded in 1977, Carrick embarked on a remarkable career journey, joining Roxy Music, Squeeze, Mike and the Mechanics, and working with Roger Waters and Eric Clapton. Now in his 70s, Carrick continues to record and tour as a solo artist, maintaining a particularly strong following in Europe. The success of How Long was almost derailed by a production mistake. During the final mix, an engineer accidentally erased part of the master tape, requiring emergency repairs that delayed the single's release. If you're enjoying these musical revelations, now's the perfect time to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. These stories deserve to be shared, so send this video to the music lovers in your life who appreciate the real history behind the hits. Now, let's continue our journey through these forgotten 1970s gems. Major Harris achieved his moment in the spotlight with the smooth R&B ballad Love Won't Let Me Wait, which climbed to number 5 on the Billboard Hot 100 in 1975.
You hold me tight and love's got me high.
Before his solo success, Harris had been a member of the Delphonics, known for hits like La La Means I Love You. Despite the song's success and his recognized vocal talents, Harris never had another major chart hit as a solo artist. Harris passed away in 2012 at the age of 65, leaving behind a small but significant musical legacy. What many listeners may not realize is that Love Won't Let Me Wait contains one of the most explicit moments to ever sneak onto 1970s radio. Near the end of the song, female vocals simulate an orgasm, recorded by background singer Barbara Ingram. This caused considerable controversy when the song was released, with many radio stations playing edited versions. Phoebe Snow's jazz-infused folk song, Poetry Man, reached number 5 on the Billboard Hot 100 in 1975.
And life is like a song. Yes.
Though Snow would never again reach the same commercial heights, she maintained a respectable career, recording 9 albums and collaborating with artists like Paul Simon and Linda Ronstadt. Her career took a significant pause when she devoted herself to caring for her daughter Valerie, who was born with severe brain damage in 1975. Snow passed away in 2011 at the age of 60, following complications from a cerebral hemorrhage. Poetry Man carried significant personal controversy, as it was widely rumored to be about Snow's affair with Jackson Browne, who was in a relationship with Joni Mitchell at the time. Snow neither confirmed nor denied these rumors during her lifetime, adding to the song's mystique. British pop group Jigsaw soared to number 3 on the American charts with Sky High in 1975.
You blown it all sky high by telling me a lie.
Despite being classified as a one-hit wonder in America, Jigsaw had several other international hits, particularly in Japan, where they maintained popularity throughout the late 1970s. The group disbanded in 1983 after releasing 8 albums. Scott later worked as a songwriter and producer, while Dyer became a session musician and later worked in music education. Sky High might never have been a hit without film producer Brian Trenchard Smith's intervention. After Jigsaw's record label initially rejected the song, Trenchard Smith personally financed the recording and promotion of the single in Australia, where it became a hit before crossing over to America. Shame, Shame, Shame catapulted Shirley Goodman back into the spotlight after nearly 2 decades of musical obscurity. As part of the duo Shirley and Lee, she had hits in the 1950s, including Let the Good Times Roll, before fading from view. Producer Sylvia Robinson rediscovered Goodman working in a retail store and created Shirley and Company as a disco vehicle. The resulting track reached number 12 on the Billboard Hot 100 and became one of the first disco songs to achieve mainstream success. After this comeback hit, Goodman returned to semi-retirement in New Orleans, occasionally performing but never recapturing commercial success. She passed away in 2005 at the age of 69. What's rarely discussed is the contentious relationship between Goodman and producer Sylvia Robinson. According to session musicians, Robinson exercised tight control over the recording, with Goodman having minimal input despite being named the artist. More controversially, Goodman later claimed she received very little money from the song's success, stating in a 1994 interview that she was paid a flat fee rather than royalties. Gwen McCrae scored her biggest hit with Rockin' Chair, which reached number 9 on the Billboard Hot 100 in 1975. The Miami-based singer had been recording since the late 1960s, often in partnership with her husband, George McCrae, who had his own hit with Rock Your Baby.
Make me feel like a cloud in the sky.
Rockin' Chair was produced by the legendary Steve Alamo and written by Clarence Reed, who also recorded under the provocative persona Blowfly. Though she never again reached the same commercial heights in the U.S., McCrae continued recording and became particularly popular in Europe's northern soul scene. Now in her 80s, she occasionally performs at soul music festivals, retaining a loyal cult following among funk and soul enthusiasts. Behind the success of Rocking Chair lies a story of marital tension and music industry sexism. The song was recorded during Gwen's separation from husband George McCrae, and some of the lyrics about sitting in the same old place were reportedly inspired by her frustration with both her marriage and career stagnation. If these behind-the-scenes stories are revealing music history you never knew, now's the time to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Every like helps more music fans discover these untold stories. So, take a second to click that thumbs up. Share this with friends who think they know their 70s music. We know they're in for some surprising revelations. Let's keep exploring these forgotten classics. One of the most recognizable instrumental funk tracks of the era, Dynamite, reached number 10 on the Billboard Hot 100 in 1975. The track was inspired by the catchphrase of actor Jimmy Walker from the TV show Good Times. With its infectious wah-wah guitar, punchy horn section, and driving rhythm, Dynamite became a dance floor favorite and was featured in numerous commercials and films. After this single success, Bazooka released an album that failed to chart, and the studio group disbanded. Camille continued his career as a producer and arranger for various R&B artists into the 1980s. The commercial success of Dynamite led to a complex legal battle rarely mentioned in music history. Actor Jimmy Walker, whose catchphrase inspired the song, filed a lawsuit claiming he deserved compensation for the use of his expression. The case was eventually settled out of court for an undisclosed amount. Sammy John's laid-back country rock hit, Chevy Van, cruised to number 5 on the Billboard Hot 100 in 1975, though Johns had actually recorded it in 1973 before it gained traction. The song's easygoing lyrics masked its suggestive lyrics about a casual sexual encounter in a van, capturing the free-spirited mood of the era. Despite the song's success, Johns never had another major hit, though he did write songs for other artists including America by Waylon Jennings and Common Man by John Conley. Johns continued performing in smaller venues, particularly in the Southeast, until his death in 2013 at the age of 66. His signature song has remained a staple on classic rock radio, maintaining its place in 1970s nostalgia. What you may not know is that General Motors, while never officially endorsing the song, quietly embraced its marketing potential. Van sales reportedly increased by 10% following the song's popularity, and some Chevrolet dealers even used it in local advertisements. British musician Pete Wingfield created a clever musical in-joke with 18 with a Bullet, which reached number 15 on the Billboard Hot 100 in 1975. The song's title referenced the Billboard chart terminology where a bullet symbol indicated a rapidly rising hit. Beyond this novelty hit, Wingfield had a successful career as a producer and session musician, working with artists like Van Morrison and even the Everly Brothers. The song itself literally received a bullet on the Billboard chart during its climb, creating a meta moment that amused industry insiders. In a lesser-known controversy, due to the song's title containing the word bullet and lines like "shoot up to number 1," some American radio stations initially banned it during a period of heightened sensitivity about violence in music. British singer Paulolly Brown reached number 16 on the Billboard Hot 100 with the disco track Up in a Puff of Smoke in 1975. The song features a catchy chorus and production typical of early disco. The song's popularity was boosted by its use in discotheques, where its driving beat made it a dance floor favorite. After her brief American success, Brown continued recording in Europe and even worked as a session vocalist. Brown reportedly disliked the track and argued with producers about its commercial disco direction, preferring a more soulful approach. In a stroke of tragic irony, co-producer Jerry Shirley was killed in a plane crash shortly after the song became a hit, never seeing the full extent of its success. If you've enjoyed these musical revelations, please take a moment to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you won't miss our next exploration of music history. Leave a comment sharing your memories of these songs or suggesting other musical mysteries you'd like us to investigate. Remember to like this video and share it with friends who appreciate the stories behind the songs. Until next time, keep those turntables spinning and those 8 tracks playing.